All right, Nobody Named Kevin podcast, episode 27. Remember, like, comment, and subscribe. And let's roll into this, boys. Anyone named Kevin?
Hell no.
Not I, sir.
All right. So, Devin, you're getting the vaccine.
Yeah, by the system that we live in and the powers that be.
So not by
I am
choice.
between a rock and a hard place. Getting this shot, wasn't gonna get it, and then was, and then wasn't, and mainly wasn't, just wasn't, and then it's gonna be kind of a thing you have to do. So I'm like, all right, whatever, I'll bite the bullet because I'm not gonna fake any medical document. So, almost made an appointment the other day, before D&D actually too. And I was like, no, I don't want to be sick tonight. And I was going to do it for Wednesday. And I was like, well, no, because I don't know. I can't be sick Wednesday. I'm like, if we do the show Wednesday, I can't be. Like, I was just finding ways out of it.
Yeah, you're psyching yourself out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm like, Thursday's too late. So why, and then basically I have like 28 days to get it. Actually both, which is like the exact amount of time you need for the one of them. So anyway, I booked it for Friday, and even when I was booking it, I almost backed out again because it's like how many questions there were. Because it was like first name, last name. It was like standard contact info. I'm like, okay, this makes sense. It's an appointment. Next. I thought it was just going to because I'd seen the appointment page like 3 or 4 times already. I'm like, all right, I'll fill out the contact info. Rip this Band-Aid off. Well, then it's like more questions. I'm like, okay, why do we need so many questions? And then it was like, they started to make sense. It was like, have you had the first dose? Yes or no? Are you on blood thinning medications? Are you in this type of medication? Are you in this type of medication? Are you taking anything that's like this? Like, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And then the next page is all your ethnicity and all this stuff. And then another page is like another medical background stuff. Like, has this happened to you before? Has this happened to you before? And then you have to sign an I agree page of like, you cannot take any, legal action against us for any effects that might be negligent on our behalf or because of the vaccine. That you can't do anything if anything negative comes of this. I'm just like, again, I was just like, why is this so much? Why is this so much? But I'm like, I hit agree because, again, I don't have a choice in the matter. So it doesn't really matter how I feel about it. So it's like, it's kind of like, yes, I agree. And that's just the whole thing with it of like, that's kind of like the bummed out feeling I get of like, you're going to have to get it and it's completely out of my control. That's the problem.
Hey, they
many questions were
they gave you the ability to make the choice. You didn't make the right choice, so we're like, all right, nope. Clearly, he won't do it. So, guess now we got to poke him with the fucking stick that'll shock him and get him moving forward.
No, because that's not the right choice. The right choice is had to have the choice. The other choice is to lie and falsify medical documents, which can result in a worse consequence for my future. So I'm like, not going to chance that. It's like, yeah, I mean, whatever comes of this shot I'd rather risk that down the line, whatever, if it does, whatever. I'm just being hyperbolic and saying like, my teeth will fall out or I'm develop a different type of cancer. But
yeah, I've been reading a lot about the technology they're using, the mRNA or whatever, where they like write like a code of a virus instead of putting like a dead virus or weakened actual virus in us. And that's why it was so quick. See, like I'm wary of the vaccine, but I've been reading a lot about it. I know it's like legit and how it works. And like so something that's like, if this happens, I'll be like, I'll probably get the vaccine, but this sounds really cool. So Moderna, the company, is trying to use the mRNA technology, just like they did with COVID vaccine, for HIV vaccine. And it's supposed to go into testing in 2022 spring and be done by 2023.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool, dude.
Well,
that's insane.
It's because this is an innovation in like medical technology and like our system itself. It's a huge innovation.
But
like
they're
when people
doing but I would like to point out they are doing like a year-long test.
because
But
it doesn't need to be
it's not immediate. Yeah,
so
no, it's not a
quick.
pandemic. Yeah, I
But
understand. Yeah.
like the idea behind it, like I get when people tell me like, "Oh, I'm worried about it. It's the first of their kind." I'm like, "Yeah, but there's a lot of first of its kind. Like eventually it's gonna become normal." I understand you're like being scared
My
about it and
logic is
stuff, but I'm like, hey, whatever, dude. Someone has
I
to be the guinea pig, just like someone had to be
yeah.
the first person to drive a car.
My logic of it, and I know this is not safe logic, it's dumb logic, but it's like, you know, they release a video game and it's not finished.
You
So,
want them to
like,
work. So
I'm gonna wait till it's
so
done.
we're
I wanna
getting the
get
beta
complete
vaccine.
edition. We are
Bro,
getting the beta
is it not-
vaccine.
Bro, and,
Like-
dude, literally. Okay, no, that's perfect because they're already recommending DLC. Like, oh yeah, you got to get the
The
booster.
booster. Yeah.
And it's just the
Only if you got the
it's
certain
it's
one
new,
though.
Hey, at least it's
Yeah,
free to play.
Dude,
That's
it's
true.
Which is actually like, here's the other theory: the booster is actually just another version of the vaccine, but they know if they call it that, no one will go get the booster, so they're just call it that.
See, I would think the people that are wanting the boosters are people that are already like lined up for the vaccine, or like because like what I was saying when I've heard of like the reports of people that have been getting the third shot, not because the boosters I don't even think are a thing yet. I'm not quite sure, but
They're
like people who have
thinking
just
about it. They're doing studies
Okay.
to determine if it will be needed or not. And right now it's looking like we may need boosters.
So yeah, and that's where I was reading that the people have like I don't guess falsified document or just said I don't know because it seems like it's pretty easy to just go sign up and get a shot. They have received third shots of either like they've had like 2 Moderna and 1 Pfizer or 1 J&J and 2 Moderna or some random. They just like get an extra one, which to me that seems like a bad idea. But I don't know. Apparently that's been happening. People that are like on the other side of it, like opposite of us, that are like really actually very scared. You know, they're like, I need extra. I don't know, because there's on both sides.
I need all the
be,
vaccine I can get.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know, dude. My biggest push for me was like one of the things that kind of set it in stone of like, yeah, I'm getting this, is when they're like, COVID could hurt you really bad, and one of the common underlying conditions is asthma. I'm like, well, I have that and I don't want to live on a ventilator for a long time if that ends up happening to me. So I'm like, vaccine seems like the right choice for me.
Yeah, it's good that you got it. I mean, to be honest, like I worry about Selena because she has asthma. Like that makes me nervous. I mean,
that's
and
my
I know
thing.
I'm taking a health risk. Like I think my brother was talking about something about like
autoimmune systems.
With autoimmune, but something about like signing up for insurance. They're thinking about if you sign up for health insurance in the future, like if you haven't been vaccinated, it's like a checkbox, just like if you smoke cigarettes. So you have to pay more because you're taking a health risk, like a known health risk. I don't know.
I'm not surprised. I'm literally not surprised, dude, because like people are advocating the vaccine passport at this point. A year ago, it was, you're a crazy conspiracy theorist.
For me,
you believe that, and now it's like, well, we should.
My thing is with like the vaccine like passport, I'm like, yeah, that's already a thing with other things. Like if you want to go to Africa, you have to get vaccinated against a lot of stuff. So like for me, I'm like, yeah, it's probably not going to be the way that they think it is. Like if a country doesn't want to let you in because you don't have the vaccine, like okay, that makes sense. They already do that with other countries. But when
they do that with schools here.
Yeah, I mean, like to me, I was like, the problem that I have is when they're like, oh, we won't let you work, or we won't let you, you can't eat at this restaurant. Like that's where it feels like it's kind of overstepping its reach. As far as like, you can't come into the country and stuff like that, I get it. But at the same time, if enough people were getting it, it wouldn't be an issue. They wouldn't have to go that hard on it.
What do you think about the protests that were happening in France, Italy, and there was one other country in Europe? I can't remember what it was, but there was like 1 weekend, there was like 160,000 out in France, like on the streets. Some of them were healthcare workers. I'm not saying they're right.
Dude, my
I just
thing
think
is
you'll
like,
always
dude,
look at both. Like that's a lot of people.
I think they're
In France, Europe is generally left leaning. So I don't know. That's
my
just
thing
interesting.
is I hate people that because I'm a nurse I know everything about
No,
vaccines.
yeah,
I
and I'm
don't
not
want it.
saying that.
I don't give a shit what a healthcare worker does if their job is not being a virologist or they are not a doctor who like knows that field. I don't give a fuck that you went to nursing school. You know the basics. You do not know the intricacies. While you could be right, you're not educated enough on it for
And
me to fully trust your
see,
opinion. It doesn't hold
so
weight with me.
that's something that bothered me is one of my family members that is a retired healthcare worker has been texting me a lot, telling me I need to sign up for it or to get one. And when we first started texting a couple of months ago, I was like, I'm nervous how fast it came out. And me and my brother had like just spoke about it, like had a long conversation about it. And my uncle told me, he's like, it's the same. He's like, this just didn't go through all the red tape and bureaucratic bullshit. That's just why it came out so fast. Then I asked my brother, and he's like, that's not true. It's because of the mRNA technology. And my uncle used that. He was, he's like, hey, I've been in healthcare for 40 years or whatever. So remember, and he's telling me something that's supposedly not even the reason that it did move out. And I trust my brother more because he's more of a science guy. That's what I've heard.
It's actually a little bit of both. So the fact that it was mRNA and it like that was the idea that they pushed and worked with, and it was hyper successful. It didn't have to go through a lot of bureaucracy in the length that it took. They still had to do
8 weeks.
They still had to do trials and stuff like that, whereas typically FDA trials need to take place over a year, a couple years, and stuff like that. They'll do a little bit long term. It's still short, but it's a little bit of both. The fact that it was mRNA and they had such success that quickly, that's unusual. We typically aren't that successful that quickly. But if it's a real innovation, it makes sense that would happen, that we would find one that's super successful. Hey, cool, we know this is super successful. It came together quickly. What else can it do? That's why we're looking to like HIV. They looked into seeing if they could do things with cancer with it. Like, this is an innovation. But on top of that, like, normally they have to go through super long trials. They shortened that time. That was what I think it was like Operation Lightspeed or some shit like that. They removed a lot of that red tape so that they could move forward and get to this quicker. Still went through trials and stuff.
Okay, well,
yeah, it's a nice little
sorry,
like.
Uncle.
It's a nice little game of like, it's like Lilo and Stitch. I think 2 or 3. It's like experiment versus experiment. The virus was an experiment that linked from a lab, so we have another experiment to fight the other experiment, and just whatever mutate comes from it. But we might get a symbiote out of it. So actually, it could happen.
I was curious what y'all think. I saw this guy talking on the internet about like how even if everyone was vaccinated, that COVID would never go away because it has a foothold, or I think he used the word colony. I don't know what word he used, but in the animal kingdom with COVID as a virus will never, because it's not like smallpox, or is that like,
I think he's saying.
He's saying,
no, I think he's saying coronavirus.
Yeah, so like we had like SARS and stuff like that. It's always been around. This like it just, the thing is with any disease, bacterial stuff like that, it develops and finds ways around. That's what they do. The idea though is we could cut back this strand of coronavirus, get back to normal. Eventually it may jump again. That happens, but you'll never fully beat a virus. You'll never fully beat bacteria and stuff like that. That's just how it works. That doesn't mean that we should just give up and stop trying. If we did that, we would still have smallpox wiping out populations and stuff like that. Like, we'd have those old diseases back, killing off tons of the population. Like, just because it's there doesn't mean we shouldn't try to protect ourselves against it.
Well, I don't even think it to that degree of like, it really feels like it's never going away regardless. However, the guy may have meant, because like you said, SARS is COVID-1, or whatever you want to call it, but it doesn't feel that way. It feels like we got like 3 more years of this shit. like they kept saying the new normal all last year, the new normal, and it literally has become that. Like,
okay, but here's the side argument as to why it could take that long, because people are refusing to get vaccinated. They're refusing to do things that could be the steps to prevent that and get us back to actual normal. The longer people sit there and resist, like if they're telling you, hey, if we do this, we could get back to the new normal. It will never go back to full new normal, because obviously we're treading new waves in the way that our government works, and that's shit we need to keep an eye on and make sure that they don't overreach for those policies. But at the same time, it's like, dude, if people are still refusing to get vaccinated and stuff like that, like the reason Delta is even a thing is because it's going into people who aren't vaccinated, and it's mutating inside of that to become more effective at attacking people. That's what it does. So now the vaccine's not working. Like the vaccine still helps you fight it off, but you can still catch it. Like little things like that. Like the longer we take to move forward and get everyone taken care of and safe, the longer chance we have that it may never go back to normal, because we could just fall behind what we can't stop.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, no, I don't think it will, because, the longer that, everyone taking it takes, I literally just think it's going to be like another 3 years. And this is just how you're going to deal with it. It's just going to come in waves, and it's going to get worse, and it's going to get better, and it's going to get worse. And then the whole thing with the government policies. I mean, as soon as they have the chance to, you're mandated to take this to, be working a government building or whatever, which they already have done, they're not ever going to give that up. They're not ever going to relinquish that power. It's going to turn into something else that they're going to mandate. That's not like the government is ever going to like, oh, let's lessen power now that this is blown over. They're just going to find a different way to get it. So it's already done. It's already, the gates are open.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, that's just it, is people pretend like even then, like, oh, I don't like the government seizing power. Okay, well, you sitting here and not getting the vaccine is not going to stop them from having that power. They already signed those bills. They have that power now. You complaining about it isn't fixing it. You need to, like, there's legitimate ways to fight it, and you're clearly not doing that.
Yeah.
Is there though? Because that's the problem. They're like that's the mantra that's like, you can't do anything about it, so just fucking deal with it. That's the problem. That's what they feel. They're like, I feel helpless, and you just gotta fucking take it. That's the problem that they feel.
I get that, but the other idea is too, like, okay, what do you do? Okay, well, my politician's doing this. Okay, well, if enough people agree with you, you get elected, and you can help fight against that. Just because it doesn't go your way, because apparently a majority of people don't feel the way that you feel, doesn't mean that the system doesn't work. It could just mean that, hey, more people think a different way than you do. Doesn't make you right, doesn't make them right. It's just that's how our government works, is the majority gets the say, is how it's supposed to work.
It's how it's supposed to work, but again, it's the oligarchies and like the monopolies that control it. Big tech at this point now.
Which we don't all agree on. So that's arguing a point that we all don't agree on.
No, I know, but I'm saying like that's how those people feel that are like that do complain, or they feel helpless. And then you're telling those people like, well, work the system, go through your politician. That like they don't have any belief in that, because that feels dishonest, disingenuine, and
so at my point, like,
the things that
they're not okay. Like if you, my thing with that is like, okay, well, you're not doing anything about it, so quit bitching. Like, I'm tired of listening. It's literally that. If it's like, if you're so outraged and you have that little faith in the system, cool. Then why haven't you actually rebelled? Like, obviously, you're not that deep in the system, or you don't fully believe. Like, obviously, you think the system works, or you wouldn't protest. If not, you'd stage a takeover.
When they fight the system dressed in fucking cattle horns and red face paint, it's a problem.
Hey.
So you can't have it both ways.
It's not my fault you lost.
No. That suggestion doesn't work either, because you're like, go ahead and rebel. They rebel, they get shot. You're like, you shouldn't have rebelled. You should have stayed in line. I stay in line.
It's not that. It's that.
You shouldn't like it. It's that.
It's not even that. If you're going to rebel and then complain when you lose, You lost, bro. Like,
my God.
the
You
victors
lost, bro.
get to write it. Like, hey, you may be in the
it's-
100% right, but hey, you got to understand that if you rebel and you want to, fight against the government and guns and killing is the way to go on it, you got to understand, well, bitch, you better win. Because if you don't, it's fucking horrible. It's literally just that.
That is exactly the moving of the goalpost that side feels, dude. You're like, you get shot. That was also your fault. It's like, well, what should we do? Again, it circles back to fall in line. And you're like, I don't like that. Makes me feel useless in my existence. I feel like I have no say. I feel like I have no free will. And it just circles back. If how many things need to come up from the government, how many experiments they've done on people in the past, or how many things behind closed doors that come out years later, they're like, this is why you shouldn't trust the system. That's like how many times that has to happen. And you're like, well, do something about it. It's like in the same system that I don't trust. What do you mean? Ran by people who are incompetent to do normal jobs. Ran by people that you literally wouldn't hire. If you ran a burger joint downtown, you wouldn't hire half the politicians. You wouldn't even hire our own president.
Here's the
you would not hire.
No,
and here's the thing. So sorry, don't shoot me.
Hold
on, don't shoot me. You wouldn't hire Joe or Trump. I'm sorry. You would not hire either of them at your burger joint.
Here's my thing. At the end of the day, the system still works. If enough people believe you and agree with you, they'll overthrow the system with you. And if enough people do, hey, you'll come out ahead. Obviously, not enough people agree with you.
So you have to start like an entire
not
movement.
a matter of agreement. It's not a matter of agreement, dude. The things that want to be done are in control and in say of the people who have the most money and the most influence. So those people need to change their mind. Doesn't matter if the majority. It's more popular to distrust the government now. It's weird. It's now weird when people are trusting the government. They're like, cuck. You're just a cuck. And if you don't trust the government, it almost feels new normal because they're doing all these things to buy government trust of like trying to win the people back over. So I don't think it's a majority thought. The majority doesn't trust anymore.
Well, so here's the thing. Mistrust is changed. Eventually, enough people might get fed up and rebel. Just because it's not the time now doesn't mean it's not the time in the future. Like, that's my thing. It's about timing. Like, if you truly believe that everything is stacked against you and you don't like the way the government's working and you believe you're right and enough people believe you, even if it's not now, you can fight that system. That's how our government's set up.
Dude, that would be
set
so
up for the people
crazy.
who oppose it. It is set up for the people who oppose it to topple it down. Maybe the founding fathers had that in mind, yes. That if this was injustice, you can knock it down, we can rebuild. Not how it is now. Most people who feel that way, like, make a shit ton of money and go live off on their own and say, fuck society. Because they don't want to deal with it. And that's my goal. That is, the more I interact with humans, the more I really would love to live in a fucking van. Away from society. This is horrible. This is terrible. Like, the mismanagement and the easiest way to control population is fear. And that's all it is. That's all the news is, dude. It's just constant negativity. You just fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and you just keep people spinning and spinning and spinning. So yeah, I would like to unplug from society. Like, I'm not going to sit here in the system for 40 years and try to work it. Like, 'cause by the time you get to the top,
that's my thing. If you have so little faith in the system, fucking rebel. If enough people agree with you, they'll rebel with you. Like, if you're like, oh, well, I don't want society to be destroyed, I got a family to think of, well, then obviously it's not that important to you. If you're not willing to risk it all, then it must not be that important to you.
You're dumb for not risking your life when you have a family. Okay.
No, mine's not saying it's dumb. I'm saying it obviously doesn't mean that much to you. It doesn't mean enough for you to do it.
I would just move to another country.
I'm not saying it's dumb. I'm saying obviously you don't care about it enough. It's the same thing rich people tell you when it comes to money, right? If you really wanted money, you'd be able to do it. If you're willing to do this, this, and this, obviously money's not your priority.
Oh
yeah.
I just like what? You're not gonna overthrow the government? Like what? Your kids are important to you, pussy? You don't care about your freedom?
No.
On
So
Capitol Hill.
here's my
What are
thing.
you talking
Here's my
about?
thing. My argument is not even that, like, oh, your family doesn't matter. It's the fact that obviously you don't think it's doomed enough that you realize you need to fight back for your kids.
No, it's okay. It's the way the system is set up is that you feel overwhelmed because you are one person, right? And regardless of like, oh, we get it right, I agree with you. It doesn't change the system. So it's overwhelming to be like, I'd rather just withdraw from the situation because I do have these things to take care of. And if I could just be away from all of it, that'd be the better plan. Because I can't, that's part of the society trap. They want you to have like 4 to 5 kids. Because then what are you going to do when your career's on the line? You're not going to rebel because you got 5 kids to feed. Quit your job. Okay, who's going to pay for the kids' insurance? Who's going to take them to school? Like, it's just, we'll give you all these tax benefits the more you have. It's this whole game, dude. And you feel like, you just feel helpless in the middle of it. To come out of this world, I think is crazy. Or come out of it. Yeah, to come out of this world is crazy. To be alive is a miracle. The chance that any of us got born. And it feels like you're like, I have a bigger purpose. I don't know what that is, maybe, but everyone's like, man, I feel like there's something I should be doing bigger. And in all this purpose you're looking for, it's like you're also in these 2 gears grinding you in society. So that's the frustration. That's what it is. It's and there's so many like gray areas within that to go down. And it's like, it's rather just withdraw, like, because you're not going to overthrow the government, unless you live in fucking Kabul.
Yeah, especially like the most powerful military in the world. It's not happening, but
it's what's crazy about that? That military's your people as well. They're citizens of the United States. If your cause is that glorious and enough people believe it, I bet you some of them will be military members. That's true. That's my thing, is everyone's sitting here saying like, oh, it can't be done. No, it can be done if enough people do it. Just not enough people are in the place that they truly feel that and they're willing to risk it all. Because that's just it. A civil war to successfully go off against the U.S. government is going to be extremely bloody. And it's going to be, a couple hundred years of rebuilding and restructuring no matter which side wins on it. Most people are not willing to sacrifice that.
Bro, because, dude, if you go into a civil war, it's not stopping there. The other superpowers are going to strike. They're going to be like, oh, they are actually divided. They've been divided.
Sides.
Let's be real. It does feel like you live in 3 different planets. You have like red, blue, and then like the middle who just don't give a fuck or can't really pick a side. It literally feels like you're living in multiple different planets in this country. So already divided, but to actually divide and fight, dude, they would strike. And then it's a world war because they're like, who's going to win America? And then, no, you're right, Clayton, because that's when we join forces. Because we remember what made us American. Fuck everybody else.
That's my thing is like, well, I mean, even
that's what brings us together.
Well, even if we roll into Afghanistan, like, their government fucking completely ran. Obviously, independence is not that important to you then. You're not willing to risk all these things, and that's fine. But it's literally just the fact of like, dude, you have no faith in your system. You refuse to fight back. Not a single shot was fired.
Bro, dude. No, dude. Okay, that's the same thing. That's the same worry of the American military. The American military pulls out. They're like, okay, we're safe to go in now. Like, that's the same exact concept.
Not seeing how you're...
Schwinn's like, he's like, the American military, you're not going to win against them. And then you're like, Kabul. Yeah, they moved in when the American military left. That's the same thing.
That's just it.
Oh, well, yeah, because, I mean, they're not taking the American military.
Yeah, exactly. That's the same thing.
Well, then, obviously you've lost, so stop complaining.
I was reading something about that.
That's how I look at it. If you believe all this, cool. You can't beat the game, so stop complaining about it.
You're
Just
not
play
allowed
the
to
game.
complain.
Well, if you've established all this and you're not willing to do anything about it, like it's literally recreational bitching at that point.
Hey, don't worry. I think who is it? QAnon. He's gonna like become president or something.
No. Donald Trump will retake in the year 2022. It didn't happen this month, so it's next year that it's gonna happen. We
The
got
Super Bowl,
one date.
bro.
Yeah, we misread one date in a super highly documented thing that only they can see.
My favorite one was Mother's Day or whatever, but then it rained. We can't do it today.
I saw a post. I saw a post arguing today on Facebook. In the comments, they were arguing to call upon Mike Pence to settle this. And like one of the long comments was like, "Hey, I just want to clear things up. Basically he's like, I am a Republican, but I just want to clarify, Mike Pence has no power to recall an election this many months after." It was like the only all right, enough of the rabbling. Like, there's one of us is saying here, like, I'm with you, but that's not how this works.
Dude, dude, it's hilarious to me. Dude, I just don't understand it. Like, how can you be this? You're like, 6-7 months into a presidency, and y'all still believe that somehow magically he's just gonna come back. Even if you think the election was stolen, do you think they'd give it back to him and be like, yeah, we stole this, here you go? Like, what?
Definitely not. Dude. I don't know. I feel like he's probably going to win 24 because I can't think of really any heavy contenders that are going to, like, be able to. I mean, he's still stirring up a base for himself.
My thing is, it will only happen if he can actually stay on mainstream media. Like, he's already off social and stuff like that, but if media decides to actually like blacklist him like they do with actors and stuff like that, he won't be able to create enough rabble to get the moderate Republicans in.
Two things. They need to impose the age limit, and also the Taliban has a Twitter. But not
the Taliban has a
The Taliban's allowed to tweet, but Donald Trump is not.
That's very interesting.
Hey,
the Taliban, they have American weapons.
I'm glad our president doesn't tweet anything mean now. Because the Taliban can live tweet their takeover.
It just makes me laugh that people are like, oh my God, I can't believe, the U.S. government, let them take all this stuff. It's like, dude, I don't think you understand that the U.S. has done stuff like that for years. Never on this scale, but dude, we always leave stuff behind. It's cheaper to just buy new. Like, in all those, like, ISIS training videos that were coming out and stuff like that, you do realize, like, those are American bases that they were on. Those are American treadmills that we paid to put there. Like, oh, that obstacle course? Yeah, we made that. Like, we just leave stuff behind constantly.
And it's actually, like, not the first time we left. It's just, like, for a lot of us, it's like, whoa. But, like, if you look back, every time they leave, this is exactly what happened. But what's funny...
This is the first time we've left, though, and we've pretty much given a terrorist organization an air force.
Oh, yeah, and then, like, access to, I think Twitter, that just cracks me up. That's like, Donald Trump, you can't. But they said, like, well, the Taliban will remain on unless they start to incite violence or break the terms and conditions and the rules.
Dude, I'd hate to be the Twitter account manager for the Taliban.
Right?
No, we can't call for jihad. We can't do that.
Is that not weird?
That's so like fucking
Osama,
weird.
Osama, had to film in a cave and somehow get the video sent over. Now they could just go on live. It's like point guns in the camera, like that's literally, it's so weird now. Like, I don't know, dude. You can at them, be like, suck my dick.
Dude, I bet you it's that like all day from Americans. Hey, we already beat you once. You don't want it again.
Yeah, come over, bitch. Yeah, like, meet me in the United States. Like, dude, how do you, like, you can shit talk the Taliban in the world we live in? I mean, I guess I'm down for
Yeah,
it.
imagine like World War II where you can, tweet at the Nazis.
You constantly send Hitler, like, gay furry porn or, like, diaper porn. Like, that's not a... That's
You're
not
sending him fucking Hitler memes.
Dude, literally. Dude, I've already seen something. There was one of, like, Joe when he's down interviewing, I think McGregor. It's him, but it's him in Kabul, like, interviewing the Taliban.
Joe Rogan should start. I want to start, what is it? It's like a petition website, change.org. That's what it is.
God.
Start a petition to have Joe Rogan be the mediator for 2024 presidential debates.
Oh, here's the thing. Oh,
He's literally said it multiple times. He literally will not do it because they will not let him do it the way that he wants to, is literally what he said. Like, if he did it, it would have to be his way.
Let's do it,
that's
dude.
true, because it's like the format's weird.
Yeah, I mean, I am interested to figure out which one of my presidential candidates have done DMT.
Dude, I would at least one debate that way.
Yeah. And like,
all right, and this is the Joe Rogan
really
question for this one.
Dude, I just want, like, when he asks these questions and then like Joe's like responses to it, like, like, how many times you smoked weed? Like, I did a couple times in college. Like, son of a bitch, I knew it.
You knew it. You want some?
Yeah. I'm
Young
smoking down
Jamie
here
too. Young Jamie.
Jamie, look
too,
this
so
shit
if
up.
they say something like, it's like they say like, well, my policy is going to be this. He's like, Jamie, can you pull that up? And then they read it.
So what does this mean?
Yeah, it's like it doesn't even mean that.
Got 3-hour long debate.
I mean, it'd be worth it.
They'd only get through like 2 questions. Because Joe has spiraled them into like sauna talk and, MMA, orangutans, DMT, and why they should legalize weed. It just becomes him trying to convince them to legalize weed.
He's like, whenever you just eat a raw kill, it just feels
Y'all ever
right,
been elk hunting? I've got tons of it. Y'all want to leave with like 500 pounds of elk meat?
I wasn't going to vote for the guy, but he's really into heat shock protein. So
I kind of trust him now.
Dude. So it's officially official, I think.
Yeah. They haven't put out like the
news.
guidelines to the public yet as far as like the ins and outs of it, but yeah.
OnlyFans, no more porn. Except in certain scenarios. Sexual content in certain scenarios, but
yeah, like nude photographs will be legal and stuff like that, but no more sex videos, and it's gonna be weird, man. I don't
understand. Nude photographs are okay.
It's artistic is kind of probably how they're gonna look at it and how they're gonna call it. It's weird to me that they're getting rid of what made their platform, and their claim is because they can't get investors. It's like, what are you trying to have invested in? Like, how are y'all not making a ton of money?
The thing is, the evaluation they have is less than what they made. So they made over $2 billion last year, and they're not even getting evaluated at that now. Because typically your evaluations are multiple X what you're worth. So it'll take you years for the new acquisition to make it back, but you make your payday. It's kind of the whole point. But a lot of the problem with the investors is that in their agreements of their being an angel investor, a lot of it is not allowed for sexual content like that. So it can go one of two ways. It could change the future of that stuff, which, I mean, whatever. But, I mean, I'm with you, dude. I think what it is probably them looking to just cash out. Because they might be like, this OnlyFans thing is hot. It's like, when does this thing come to an end?
They don't see it going long term. I could see that. That would make sense. I don't know. I just find it weird that they're just completely turning their back on what made like made their website and made that stuff work.
I mean, someone's going to pick up that platform.
Well, there's already,
or at least
that's just it. They're already,
Yep.
most of them, those sites are already out there. We're just going to see a flood to those websites. Like, the way I put it is like when Tumblr went down, everyone was looking for other sites to go to and do what they wanted to do on.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's probably already made. There's like another sell your nudes website. I mean, Snapchat Premium was the thing until the pandemic and OnlyFans took off. So yeah, people are going to go back to Snapchat Premium. Or some of these girls just sell their stuff through Facebook Messenger. They'll be like, you Venmo me $40, I'll give you my Dropbox link. It's got this nudes in it, or this package. I'll give you my Dropbox links with like one's just photos or one's photos plus videos. So I mean, that's the thing. Just kind of selling pussy to the DMs. Like,
the DMs, dude.
I don't know, dude. I feel weird. I don't like it when companies turn their backs on the things that made them what they were. That always bugs me, because it's just like it at that point is like a complete slap in the face that we only did this for money, and I don't like that. Like, even if it was, I don't like it to be slammed down my throat like that.
Like, at some point, like, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, in the article I was reading where they were shutting down, there was a lady from Dallas that was like that had made the news in the article because she had tried emailed, called, she was trying to set up a meeting with them and they wouldn't meet with her, but she was like, my whole life is supported off this. Like, all her bills, she takes care of her family. She was like, this is just shutting down.
Well, it's they're also taking it as a lot of like, this is bullshit that sex work is not considered work. Like, they feel like that's kind of a step so backwards.
Dumb, how is it not considered work, but stripping is work? I mean,
something else is just gonna take off, dude. Yeah, because like that's literally perfect for the girls who don't want to strip. Like they're like, I don't want to do this in public, or I don't want to work in a sketchy environment.
Yeah, like I don't want to meet people face to face for this. I would rather be able to do it in a studio, like much like porn. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, even like the porn industry, it's
a little. The thing about OnlyFans is you are independent.
Yes,
so you had your
that
own,
was
you
the difference from
yourself.
the actual porn industry that made it better for a lot of people.
Because there's a lot of people like the Hot Girls Wanted documentary, dude. Some of those girls that get into it young, like the houses they would go to, like these girls went to this guy's house in Florida, and he was basically like a legal pimp. Like, he was just real trashy looking white dude living in the swamps of Florida. And he had his house with like 8 to 10 girls who just got out of high school. And like, he would drive them to and from their shoots. And he got a portion of their money.
To get to the house.
The fan boat.
That's what he looked like, bro.
That's when you said swamps.
Dude, I mean, like a dirty white beater and like fucked up hair. But like, yeah, so like all these, but they're just in this house, and like they were talking about like some of the girls only stay for like a couple months. They get fucked up on drugs or alcohol because they get like a whole bunch of money. I think like a shoot was anywhere from like 800 to 1,000, and they're 18 and they take it and then they can go spend their money or whatever. But this guy gets a profit because they're room and board, and he takes them to their shoes. I was like, so he's basically a pimp. But
my thing is,
I don't know.
Kind of not really.
I saw part of it. I mean, it's pimping. I mean, I think I saw part of the same one. My question was like, where does he make the money though? Because porn is free. Like,
well, he makes the money from the people, like I guess the people that record it. I guess because he provides the girls. He's like their agent, like their manager, and then he lets them live there because apparently Florida and one other state is like a real hot spot for filming it. I guess because of the legality.
It's Florida and California.
Yeah, but so he lets them live there, and then they, like room and board type shit, and then he takes them to wherever they need to go, and I guess he gets them the shoots.
The money is very obvious.
They don't really do anything.
Think about the ads and stuff like that, and think what goes into shooting porn. You probably don't need that big of a crew. So let's say your overhead for filming it and getting everything put together, getting it posted on the website is maybe $10,000, and you'll make 50 off of it. Hey, we can give you, each girl, a couple thousand, and give the dude this. We only have like 10, 15 employees to pay. And even if we only pay them a couple grand for the actual stars, quote unquote, that everyone else is just making a normal living wage at their deal. Like, it's probably just comes down to that, is like the overhead is probably not that high.
Yeah, and I don't know who's out there buying it, but there's obviously an industry for it, because every time I've been to a sex shop, there's still been a large area of DVDs and videos. So people are buying it somewhere other than just the internet. But like Clayton said, ads. But I was watching this guy, this big black dude, got out of prison, saying that he went into porn when he got out. And he was saying like how like when he first started, he was like, this is like my dream, living every man's dream. This is gonna be awesome. He said it's some of the hardest work he's ever done in his life. He's like, man, when you're there, dude.
Well, that's just it. Just do it. Imagine that for hours on end. In theory, it sounds great, but dude, honestly, after like
it's your 8-hour work shift, bro. And like,
well, it's like 8 hours. It's not. You don't get to pick the positions. They pick the positions, and
they tell you when. They tell you when. He said he has to get hard on command and finish on command. Like he had to. Like I was like, dude, that would be straining. Like when they're like, now is when it needs to happen at this specific, like, this is it, buddy. We're done with the day, and then and he said like it's real hot because they have like the filming lamps.
Yep.
And then he said someone's got a giant boom mic right behind your ass, and the camera guy's right there. He's like, it's not as luxurious as
even
you might
then,
think.
Like those positions don't feel that great because they're done for the camera. So, like, I mean, it makes 100% sense to me that it's...
As a guy?
Dude.
For the woman, I'm probably with you. It's like 1 out of every 20.
No, even then,
but
think about...
Guy,
no, even then, think... like
you're getting your dick wet.
Yes, but imagine that a full 8 hours of doing that.
Oh, no,
I'd hate my life if I got pussy for 8 hours. Dear God.
I wouldn't hate my life, but I'd be tired. I would go to sleep afterwards.
I'm sorry.
I would have to have like pills or something, dude. I don't think I would be able to just stay up for 8 hours and like just continually. That hella lube, you'd be so raw, dude. Like that's
what I'm saying. Is
I don't think it's real. I'm just saying 8 hours because it's a work day. I don't know if it's.
But
really
even then,
hours,
like
but,
even 4 or 5 hours, constant reshoots. Like just imagine, like every time you might be about to get there. All right, cut. So it's 4 hours of edging, and then finally doing it, and they're like, "Well, you fucked up the take. The take's wrong."
Give me like 20 minutes. I got you. Like, come on, bro. Like, give me a glass of water. I got 20. I'll be right back at it. Take 20.
I don't think you're understanding the toll that it would take on your body, man. I think you're underestimating that.
Edging as punishment or as discipline? Because discipline, edging.
Yeah, I mean, if a Sigma male takes up porn, he'd probably be all right.
God.
Omicron males are hitting the streets now. But dude, I mean, yeah, porn, like, dude, they're on drugs, and yeah, it doesn't look glamorous. Well, there's even like there's a genre of just like the camera, like before and after, and like, dude, some of the studios, like, they completely abuse the women, like just spit on them.
No, there are bad studios,
and it's like, and that just like. You completely humiliate them because that's what I guess that's what incels jack off to, them being abused and crying.
Like they sign up for, but even then there is also just mistreatment in the workplace as well because it's sex work, so nobody cares. That's another one of the problems. Like there are porn stars who are like, these are my favorite companies to shoot with, and this is why. Like they will have those explanations as like, this is why I like shooting with them versus shooting at these other ones that I've done, and they won't name them by name because obviously they don't want to get sued.
Well, I remember that was on that Netflix documentary. One of the girls was like, she had quit because they convinced her to do, I think like a shoot that was like she had to do anal and it was a 3-way. So there's 2 dudes and anal, but they're like, you got paid like so much extra. And then afterwards it showed her, dude, she like looked like traumatized. And it was really like weird watching it because like the dude afterwards, like talking to her, like they had like food sitting around after the set. He's like, "Well, it's not that bad. It's just your first time." And he's like 40 something, and she's like 18, and she's just like sitting there. I'm like, oh my god,
Yeah,
it's fucking rough,
Just
dude.
that unwinding of like,
yeah, man.
Damn, okay, how did I get here? Okay,
Yeah,
like,
holy shit.
that's like, fuck. Did that just happen? Yeah, that just happened. You got paid for it.
I don't know.
Yeah,
man.
you got paid for it, but
my thing
I
is,
don't know, dude.
I feel for them and stuff like that. It's a rough industry to work in.
Abuse,
it's not as glamour as everyone thinks it is.
Yeah,
I don't think.
I mean, dude,
I don't think any.
Well, even then, like,
nothing is.
Look at the suicide rates in porn. Suicide rates in porn are outrageously high.
Well, I don't even know how Pornhub hasn't been taken down. I keep seeing articles about them recently with like, I guess their channels that they have of like have people that are underage or people being abused.
No,
shit
so
like
they went through a huge wipe of it is what they did. So they had credit card payments were pulled. They were suspended on like Pornhub's conglomerate, not just Pornhub. It was other sites too.
Oh.
They deleted, I think they had over like 18 million and they had to delete down because they couldn't verify everyone and stuff like that. So they deleted over like, I think it had to be like 8 million. Like they cut it down to like 8 million videos on there that they could verify everything was okay with so that they could get payments reinstalled.
A measly 8 million?
Like, dude, you know how hard it is to... Dude. Next page.
Next page.
Let me go back. Yeah, exactly. I only have 8 million to do that
a lot of it was amateur stuff and like that was a major category that got pulled. Like a lot of it got pulled from there. It's crazy to see like that's what they had to do and that they were able to do it so quickly because they had done it within like a day or two.
Well, that stuff gets really scary too, man. Like, just, I mean, you know, when people do start posting photos or whatever, like, that's just kind of a weird thing when you're like, that looks a little younger. I don't think this is, it's like you immediately are like, what did I just see? You know what I mean? Because, like, if they were, like, 16, but they look, you're like, what if I was a part of that? Like, you just don't even want to, you're just like, you just close it out. You're like, this is, not trying to get involved in that because like it's dangerous. It's dangerous. Dude.
That's what I'm saying. So, dude, I was surprised they're still open. I mean, but I didn't know it was across their like all their. So they own like their whole like all their other companies.
Well, it wasn't like Pornhub wasn't the target. It was just the biggest name in it. They went after the conglomerate that owns all those, which they included Pornhub because Pornhub's the biggest name in porn, but. Like, it's owned by, like, X Videos. There's, like, 5 or 6 different major sub-companies that they own within it that ended up getting hit, too. Like, Pornhub was just the biggest name in it.
Man, every time I think about, like, a physical location for Pornhub, I always think about Jack Black. Did y'all ever see that movie Sex Tape?
No.
With Cameron Diaz and the other guy.
No. I know what movie you're talking about, but no.
Yeah. Oh, well, they have a sex tape and it gets uploaded to the cloud. And at the time, you know, that was a joke because I guess no one understood the cloud.
Yes.
But they went to the Pornhub like factory or whatever that like housed everything, and Jack Black was like the CEO or like the dude that owned it. It was really awesome. But that's what I picture now. Just him like sitting in a control room, like in a pimp outfit.
I don't know, dude. It's weird to me that's like these are the things that are major issues and stuff like that. Like, it's weird to know that it was so face forward because like when I think child porn, I think like, oh, that's not on the main internet. That's the dark web. Like, you don't think of it being readily available for people. You think like, oh, no, you have to kind of hunt and know what you're doing to get into that sphere. But no, apparently it's not that way.
Oh, yeah, and you have like, well, think about just like, you know, some of these younger impressionable girls who like want to do that type of work and they are, you know, 16 and upload a video. they're just like, oh, I'll sneak by. They'll look 18. Like that type of stuff could happen because I'm sure that happens. Well, they have those verification steps on OnlyFans, but that happens on
that's
Tinder
one of the things they brought up as a concern for OnlyFans, and investors were bringing that up. If that was a concern of theirs, even though they're actually like really decent about it, of like how they verify and stuff like that. I think you have to upload like a picture of your driver's license and stuff like that.
I wonder who's like, I guess that's just like cover your ass, because I wonder whose fault it is. Like
probably
because like if a bar serves an underage person, it's the bar's fault. It's the guy with a fake ID. Like, dude, we did our job. So it's like
that would be that kind of legal
tough area.
Yeah,
I think it's called KYC, know your customer, because I've heard about it in the Pi app that I use. Then like mine's that whatever crypto or whatever, but it's called KYC, know your customer, for like online websites or whatever. And like what they do is like you upload a picture of like yourself with a driver's license, like your driver's license, and yourself with your driver's license, and then you link like a Facebook, for example. So like they check your driver's license with your information, and then you input like your address, and then they check the social media.
Even then, so like,
it's like annoying.
What? Like, I still don't understand. Like, who's verifying that these IDs are fake?
Yeah.
Because like that's my thing. Like, dude, think about like even just like we've all worked where we have to check IDs and stuff like that.
True.
I know what my state's IDs look like. I know what to look for. But if you give me like any other state's ID, like I don't know 100% unless it's a bad fake. Like a fake ID could probably slip by me, but I don't know all their like little intricacies.
Yeah, I don't
know.
Yeah,
that happened to when I worked at the smoke shop. It was like, what do we do with this? Because you get into like a rhythm. You're like, I know what a real one looks like. It's out of state, which already looks fake. Okay. You don't got the red, white, and blue like us, and it's basically Monopoly.
This doesn't count.
Out of here. Yeah, like what are you doing? You don't even exist. But yeah, they look crazy in some of them, and I'm like, they're just like, just do your job. Just if you look like them and it verifies. I mean, what are you gonna say? We don't live there, so all right, fair enough. like,
hey, as long as we're all in agreement, it doesn't fall back on me. Cool.
Yeah,
that's how I look at it.
Dude, do you remember the Oklahoma ID?
Dude, weren't those? I feel like those were the most crazy looking ones.
They were the fake ones. You remember the fake ones that our buddy got for the Oklahoma one? It looked so bad. Like it looked like smudged and stuff. It was just really bad.
Dude, I've been looking at our new state one. Dude, I think that one's gonna be. I can't wait till I see a fake of that. I want to see if they can do a good job or not.
That's the thing, dude. Like growing up, it's just one of the things you don't think about. The first time I saw an out-of-state ID, and I'm like, they look different. Like, why?
Yes, it's weird, dude.
License plate. I feel like ours look the most standard, but it's like they're different everywhere. You're like, what?
Ours are extremely standard, bro. We just have like a little piece of barbed wire going off, or like sometimes they have like the Texas flag with the rocket.
Dude, you don't know all the intricacies that go into it.
Well, there's that. All right, but I'm saying like there's not just like ours is like mainly like black and white. You know what I mean? Like why is they all like some have a peach, some have like some don't even, they look like vanity at the start.
New Mexico's has like the little like Aztec stuff on it or whatever.
Yes.
And it says the Enchanted State.
I don't know, dude. It's weird to me. Well, like I mean, our newer ones say the Lone Star State. Like we've got. I don't know, dude. Like, it's weird to me that is a thing that we run into. But that's what I look at, like, with, like, OnlyFans and stuff like that. Like, who's going through and verifying all these state IDs? Like, it has to be an automated system. There's no way you've got, like, a team doing this of, like, okay, you're over the whole state of Texas. Okay, you're over, the whole state of Oklahoma. Okay, you're over New York. Like, it has to be automated, and how hard can it be to pull an automated system? Like, people do it all the time.
That's true.
Like,
I
I'm
mean,
sure it's already
something-
on their site and they just don't know it. And because of how guarded OnlyFans is with like people's information and stuff like that, it'll never probably get found out for a very, very long time.
You just
Which
need
is
to put one
probably
on the
what it runs
blockchain.
into.
Everything's public
OnlyFans on the blockchain.
or something
NFT
like that.
news. I've already
NFT
seen NFT
news.
nudes. Yeah,
No.
NFT nudes. That's what you should do to take off, dude. That'll be your thing. NFT nudes.
Dude, it just doesn't make sense to me, bro. NFTs are
But-
dumb.
Are they?
Oh, I own this, but everyone can, like, there's no practical use. It's like art. It's like, I don't understand art. Like, oh,
Well,
I have the one painting of
but-
this. Okay, but yeah, I can pull that photo up on my phone. Like, I don't know.
Have it.
It's because I don't value art that I don't understand it. I know there's a market there, but it's just...
It's not just because you don't value art, you don't value clout of those things.
yeah.
So, like, Jay-Z has a CryptoPunk. So, like, they just know it's a flex. Mark Cuban has an, it's just they have addiction to, like, that status. So, like, which, you don't really care for of those certain particular things.
Yep.
Also, it's easy to say we don't care when we're not multimillionaires. That's another thing, too. I don't fucking
Well, I
need
mean,
it.
even then with,
But
like,
if you-
art... The whole idea of art was like it was a money. Like most people look at it as a money laundering scheme, and that's what I look at it as too. Because the way like you look into the industry and how it works, and they're like, "Oh, I bought this $5 million painting that I paid someone to make for $10,000, and I have my buddy who's an art assessor come value it. All right, cool, it's worth this much. Then I sell it to a museum, or I donate it to a museum, or I have a buddy buy that art piece from me. Like, I don't know. It's always been looked at as money laundering, and that's kind of how I look at art. But with NFTs being public, it's going to be hard to money launder that.
Well, yeah, it's not going to be money laundering. It's just going to be making money, rich people making more money. That's just what it always is. Again, since the dawn of time, it's smart people taking stupid people's resources. So they're like, oh, this is cool. oh, okay, that's cool. Yeah, it's worth $3 million. Damn. And then it's like, I just bought Jay-Z's CryptoPunk for $3 million. It's like, no, Jay-Z just made $3 million off of you.
Yeah,
Okay, now you have a JPEG.
Yeah, no one cares anymore.
yeah. Immediately Jay-Z would be like, kid, NFTs is dumb. Yeah, just get it.
NFTs are dumb.
And then the price just starts crashing.
I hate that.
That's all it's ever gonna be.
I don't know, bro. That stuff's
Dude,
weird
so I've
to
been
me.
doing no meat. I'm gonna go 30 days. Being free.
When'd you start?
I'm on day 4, I think. I started Sunday. I think I'm on day 4, 5, whatever.
Nice.
Dude, I'll tell you, man. Those first 2 or 3 days, bro, it will clean you. You will be detoxed. But the thing is, doing it the right way to the best of my ability. Because a lot of people, and you're like, oh, I'm going to do no meat. It's like, quesadillas and Oreos, because those don't have meat. It's like, oh, okay, again, you're...
So essentially,
well,
your way
I
versus
just-
Q's way of doing it.
It's just like the general population. Like, I didn't know meat, and I felt like shit. Like, yeah, mac and cheese 3 times a day. And, like...
There's no meat.
Yeah, I'm
Couldn't
sure
be
you
me,
felt
man.
like shit.
I love meat too much, bro. I could not just do no meat. Meat is so good, bro.
Dude, the cool thing is, like, so far, after the first hour, I felt connected to the universe. But, like, so far, after you eat, you don't, like, you eat a big meal, you're like, I'm slumped, bro. I gotta sit down. Or like, bro, I could take a nap right now. Or like, if you eat a big lunch, you're like, I don't want to work the rest of the day. Doing no meat, like, you don't feel that. Like, you just eat and you keep going. You're like, oh, like, this is weird. Like, fruits, vegetables, a lot of avocado, stuff like that. I'm just like, oh yeah, just keep going. I don't get that, like, want to die right now.
Well, it's not, your body's not having to slow down to process it. It's just easier
how much it
processed
takes
by
to
the
process
body.
the meat. Yeah.
I don't know. I've always kind of been in the camp that if I was gonna guess at what a diet should consist of, a lot of vegetables, some fruit, and meat mixed in every so often. Like, I do think that like we eat too much meat nowadays because it's readily accessible. But if I'm gonna go off the theory of what our bodies are supposed to do based on ancient diet, like how we used to eat, it was probably mostly plants and then maybe every so often a little bit of meat, just because, you can't hunt every single day and always bring back, a kill. You may bring one back and you may eat that for like a week, but then, okay, now we got to hunt again. I don't think meat was a steady supply like it is now.
Yeah.
Even now, I mean, that's fresh meat. They would even ancient times, that's how like salt started getting used so much, because it would make it last a little bit longer. You take about a fresh kill. This is why the people who, like a Joe Rogan, they love to kill their meat and eat it fresh, because what we're eating now is just
full of preservatives
so
and stuff like that. Yeah, make it last as long as possible.
That's the whole. Yeah, it's like that's really what's like, screwing with your body and everything. So. Yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's like weird because I don't know. It's just like, it's not like hard. Like I wouldn't be like, oh, like I'm going to fast food restaurants and I'm pissed. Like, okay, well, I just can't go there right now. Like,
I'm sure it's probably a little bit of like, oh, you get a slight craving of it, and you're like, oh wait, no, I can't do that. Like I feel like it would be a slight like back of the head of like, oh, dude, that place would be great. I normally get this, and they're like, wait, no, I gotta do this because like that. Not that it's like a major inconvenience, but it's probably like, oh yeah, I can't do that right now.
And that's literally like the extent of it too. Like I'm just like, I'm fine eating more vegetables and different stuff, black bean patties. I'm fine eating all that stuff. But yeah, like today I was like, man, I should go by Chick-fil-A, and I was like, oh yeah, I can't do that. Kept going. Like yeah, that's like the extent. I'm not like, God, bacon and it's just, I don't know, dude.
I don't know. It's cool, we'll see. I mean, obviously it can be done. I just wonder how long you do it. I wonder if you'll get to a point at the halfway point and you're like, dude, okay, now my body doesn't have any of that stuff to run off that it was storing before. Okay, now I'm feeling the real effects of doing just this. Like if you were to go vegan the whole way. Or not even just vegan, just more like vegetarian. Like if you were to go that full force, you're like, oh, this is how my body reacts to that.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Like getting all the way, which I mean, I'm pretty sure I can. There's like finding out interesting stuff too, but like I was at Chili's and I was asked for the black bean patty. She's like, wait, are you like a vegan or vegetarian? I was like, kind of, but not really, if that makes sense. Because I'm not trying to be like, I'm doing a 30-day challenge. Like,
you want to tell her I'm trying it out.
Yeah, that didn't even come to mind. I'm like, yes, but no.
Ma'am, did I shout at you that I was a vegan and that I'm better than you?
Let me ensue. Yeah, and like she's like the patties held together with egg white. I was like, that's interesting. She's like, yeah, if you just need to know that. She's like, a vegan did yell at me because I didn't know that. And I was like, never would have known that till just now. That's pretty cool. But no, I was like, that's fine. Like,
I'm not going to yell at you.
That's the thing, is like accepting that personal responsibility. Like, okay, like my option, like, okay, like I can go get the drinks from Sonic. There's nothing on Sonic that I could eat right now, except for like the fucking Finna stick. Okay,
you could do like the jalapeno poppers.
It's true.
Oh, I could jalapeno, but again, we're back to square one. Like, meat free made me feel like shit. What did you eat? So it's like, okay, that's not a smart move. Like, and it's funny when you bring it up. Yeah, exactly. It's funny, like when you bring it up in front of like like an average person. Like, but what about your protein? It's like, dude, the only fucking protein you care about is when someone's like, I'm just not getting meat. 90% of your protein comes from fried fucking chicken, okay, and McDonald's hamburgers. I don't think I'm missing out.
My thing is like trying to supplement, like trying to supplement in your protein with it and try, like, if you're trying to keep calorie count low and stuff like that, that's where you start to see it become a little bit more restrictive. Because, like, like, if you look at nuts, dude, because nuts are a good source of protein, you look at it and it's like, okay, yeah, that's a lot of calories in nuts, and that's a lot of over-serving in this, and this. Like, that's where I think people start to see that restrictiveness, because same thing, you have to be looking for the right things. You can't just look for these, the easy things. Like, kind of like, oh, I can go vegetarian and, like you said, eat jalapeno poppers. Like, same thing. You can supplement in your protein. Yeah. You just can't be dumb about it. Like, it could be done.
Yeah, no,
you just got to do a little bit of research.
And, yeah, no, agreed. Like, because, again, like, I'm not, like, perfect to the extent, like the other night I had nachos. I mean, there's no meat on them, but I didn't feel the best after eating nachos. Because it was a bunch of cheese and a bunch of...
Yeah, it's a bunch of processed stuff.
Everything. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, well, it's not meat. So I understand why I feel like shit after eating this.
Dude,
like,
part of me wanted to
tomorrow, I will not...
Part of me wanted to do the carnivore diet. Like, I thought about it, but it's so expensive because of how much meat you have to buy.
That's the other thing, bro. When I bought all the groceries for, like, the week, it was, like, half, if not 40% of what I normally spend.
Dude,
my mind was blown. I was like,
maybe that's why vegans are trying to get everyone to be vegan. It's not out of like necessity; it's they're broke.
Dude, a lot cheaper.
Dude, that blew my mind because like that's like something that's heavily repeated. Like, no, I mean you can't not do it. It's too expensive. Or I'd be vegan if I had the money. Or I'd be. I was like, what the hell, dude? Like. The most expensive thing I bought was, like, the processed stuff, the pre-made black bean patties. Other than that, it's fruit and vegetables are cheap. Rice is cheap. Black beans are cheap. Like,
see, I just couldn't.
Like, what the? Mindfuck.
I couldn't do it because, like, everyone says, like, most people will admit that, like, it's not good. Like, the black bean patties and stuff like that, they're not comparable to a real burger, but they're not bad.
Not bad, bro.
Like, I feel that's where the marketing is wrong in them. Is they're like, we're trying to be better and taste better than meat, or it tastes like a real burger. It's like, no, it doesn't. That doesn't mean it tastes bad.
Well, so I like the taste of the black bean patties. Like, I was eating them before this, but like, dude, the Impossible Burger, that stuff tastes like a burger. That's crazy. That? I didn't buy any of that because it trips me out a little bit, but it's
Impossible.
It's like you can buy like Impossible ground meat. It's not meat at all, but it's like I think it's replicated from stem cells. I think it's some type of like cell technology that grows this meat, but you can just cook it and it cooks like meat. And like they have them at Burger King. You can just get a Burger King Impossible Burger.
Impossible.
I don't know, dude. I'm just
it's a meat-free meat option. Weird.
I feel like that's where I seek issue with it. Is like, dude, just because it's not meat doesn't mean it needs to compete with meat. Like that's like where I take issue. Like, dude, I don't need this like black bean burger to taste like meat. Yes, that's what I'm expecting, but as long as it tastes good, I don't care.
Yeah, well, what that is trying to get as many people as they can in. Because if you think about, and I agree with your perspective, I'm like, if I understand I'm taking on this lifestyle or diet, I know what I'm getting into. I'm like, the fuck? This doesn't taste like KFC. I'm not, like, yeah, I understand my expectations. But they're like, if they can get some people that are on the fence, it's like, hey, man, it'll taste just like the greasy burger you had yesterday. It's like, well, sign me up. That's so, like... Dude,
honestly, I bet that's probably going to be the best thing for you.
Alcohol-free beer? Like, it's like, well, I know you don't want to stop drinking and you just love the taste. Here's some alcohol-free alternatives. It's like, why don't you just stop drinking? Because I'm like, why don't you just, like, not drink?
It's like if I was like, I quit smoking weed, but I still buy Delta 8.
Yeah, it's like what? Well, that one you can justify because of the legality, but like if both were legal, it's like, why would I buy that when I can just buy this?
Well, it'd be like, I'm gonna quit smoking weed, but I got a 0, PGV juice that it tastes like weed. Why would you do that? That is the worst taste you could have for a vape.
It makes no sense.
You don't want cotton candy or chocolate covered truffles or unicorn cum? No. I want my friend's corn that he had in the shoebox. Okay.
Dude, that was my favorite thing about like e-juices and stuff like that, is it was clearly named by teenagers. Like whatever wild name they could think of, they were like, let's slap that on there, just like how weed is. Like, this is Purple Haze. Let's slap a bunch of crazy names on this. Like,
unicorn sex.
Yeah, this is banana nut bread, and it's like, okay, dude, like, what are we even
God's
getting at
vagina?
Here? Yeah, like, what are we doing here?
Yes.
Why do we have to name it weird stuff? Why can't we just make it normal?
Butt crunch. The Emperor's New Vibrator. Like, just like the craziest shit.
Careful, Devin. You're gonna keep throwing out names out there, and you're gonna be pissed you didn't like get a vape shop.
God, it's gonna be like, I'm gonna go like, it's gonna be my Instagram ads. It's gonna be like, dude, what are you smoking? Emperor's New Vibrator, bro. Yeah, dude. I sure I gotta tell you this because you had that shitty experience at your shop. I went into a shop because once I found out you can get this stuff everywhere, I went to a local shop, and dude, almost identical question I had as you. I was like, yeah, my last one broke. I was just like, like, what's the flavor on this? And he's like, dude, nobody really smokes these for flavor. And I was like, but I told him, dude, I was like, yeah, I understand that, but there is a difference. Like, if this one's banana and this one's a blueberry muffin,
taste different.
Like, why, dude? Like, I know I'm not vaping, but I'm just saying, if I have a choice in the matter,
yeah, if I can make it taste better, I would like to.
Yeah.
That's like
I want to hear this experience. What the hell happened, Quentin?
Basically the same thing. I just walked in and like no one said anything, and
where
like, yeah,
were you?
I was the one by our house.
By mine, over by
by your dad's. The one we used to go to back in the day.
Oh, you went to that one?
Yeah, and like I walked in and I was like, "How's it going?" Because no one said anything, and it was really quiet. And
I bet it's
all
all new people there, isn't it?
No,
it's like the same people.
The flavor bill guy was sitting behind the counter.
Oh God, yeah.
And the older lady was there, but the younger guy who looked new is the one that helped me. But I just like found it on my own, and like we were looking at all the different stuff. And he eventually walked over to me, and he's like, "Yo, looking for?" I was like, "I'm just looking for Delta 8 stuff." He's like, "Yep, you're in the right spot." I was like, "All right, cool. So what's the difference between these?" I was getting gummies for a friend, and he pretty much told me the same thing. He's like, "No one really gets this for the flavor," and I was just like, "Okay, but what's the difference?" And he was like, "No, I mean, it all pretty much tastes the same." I was like, "Okay." So I just picked a flavor that I thought sounded cool, because they're all different fruits, like orange, apple, like purple. Like, I was like, this has to taste different.
Dude, I want to take these fuckers to like a buffet, but you tell me that watermelon tastes like that chocolate cake. Like, I mean, there's some level.
Even if it's minor taste, it's like that's like if someone was at a smoke shop that sold cigarettes or tobacco, and they were like, what's the difference between that menthol and that Marlboro Red? And they're like, dude, no one really smokes these for the flavor. Like, I'd be like, smokers would be like, hell.
It's dude, it's like even if there is a minuscule difference, like even if if I've tried them all and they're all minuscule, I'll be like, I don't know, man. I really don't. I don't have a favorite. They're all about the same. I was like, honestly, probably just try, like, maybe grab one or two, see which one you like, and then just keep going with that. But I mean, they don't concentrate on the flavor being a big deal about it.
Flavors on the front.
I think Dude, it is like, big, bold.
But that would be
that
would be the way I would explain it. Is
exactly.
be like, it's a minuscule difference, man. Like, to be honest with you, I don't really notice a difference, but try a couple different.
I feel that way about e-cig juices. Like, there's like a general fruit flavor, a general like baked goods flavor, a general sweet flavor. Like after a while, it just all tasted the same.
Dude, yeah, that's how it was for me, dude. It did not matter. It doesn't matter what I smoke. They all taste the same. So for me, I typically try to go for more mentholy flavors because I like the mentholy flavors.
In the overall generalities, menthol is different from fruit.
Yes.
Right. But you also, Clayton, you got to consider when you're vaping like a 90, it all tastes like hurt. It tastes like pain.
Dude, that's what made me laugh about y'all. So, like, dude, I got to a certain point where it did not matter. It did not matter what flavor you gave me or anything. It all tasted the same. Even if I was doing y'all's, like, because y'all would do lower ones, and they're like, dude, check out this flavor. I'm like, yep, tastes the same. Like, I ruin flavors for myself. So, like, it has to be extremely strong.
Do you pick a flavor anymore, or you just get like a generic juice that just has your nicotine?
I have like I get house juices, but what I do is I'll try a couple different ones because they'll have those slight differences, but I can do any of them and not really be bothered. And then I'll have one that I'm like, okay, that hits a little bit differently. I like that. I'll take that. Typically, I end up on a mentholy flavor because that's just what I prefer.
Are you still on the 24? Or are you 18?
No, my girlfriend's been cutting me back because she gets my juices, so she cuts them back ever so slightly. So I'm down from 18 to, I think, 10 now.
Oh, dang, bro. That's a lot for you.
You're basically drinking water, dude. What the hell is
That's
wrong
just
with
it.
you?
She's slowly weaning me off.
Tapering.
I told her
you were at 24, bro.
No, I only did 24 once, and that's because our other buddy had bought it, and he was like, this is too much for me. And I was like,
oh, yeah.
Let me hit it.
That was terrible.
Dude, that one was great, bro. Dude, the banana flavor was great, dude. That one, I could taste the flavor, and it made me buzz. And I was like, this is great.
Oh, it made me want to throw up.
My favorite of all time. Double marshmallow was my favorite of all time. Oh.
Dude, there were some good ones. I miss like my little e-cig sometimes. Like I miss having like I had the little glass mouthpiece, like just to have it. Like it was nice.
It's just that
not
though,
like a modded one, but like just a little basic one.
It's knowing your personality is like knowing you. You're kind of like me in the fact that like if you buy a little one,
I'm gonna get into it again.
Yes, you're gonna get deep back into it again. Like it's just knowing yourself. So it's like I would normally be like, well, then just get one to kind of just mess around with. But I know that rabbit hole for you, so I know that's not the advice to give you.
Yeah. Well, and you're gonna like fuck with it, and like you're gonna put it down after like a week. You're like, damn it, why'd I get a cold one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're like, this isn't as good as what it used to be, and that's like, oh yeah, I got to spend money to get to where I was used to be.
That's why I'm excited if there's ever a point in your lifetime that you want to like get into weed, it's gonna be intense because I know you're gonna like go all out because that's just how you are. Like just like your PC and like you're gonna like.
If I'm doing it,
like,
I'm doing it
like
right.
A dab rig and
yes,
like every type of way to smoke it and all this shit.
Yeah, which will never. Like that's why I don't want to do it. Like I just know what that rabbit hole is for me, and I don't want that because let's be honest, weed is a hobby.
It is very much a hobby. Dude,
exactly, and that's not a hobby I want to have.
Yeah,
like
that is like it can get. Yeah, and it can get so consuming, dude. Like I woke up. Did the bowl, they smoke before their breakfast, and then after breakfast they got to smoke before work, and at work they're like, "Damn, man."
Well, even then,
I really want to smoke on my break.
I feel like
damn, that's a lot of smoking.
I feel like you smoke weed with people, like even if they're close friends, and then they think they can just bring their buddies by with them, and it's like, whoa, like that.
Culture.
Yes, I don't like that, dude. I like from what I've seen, it's like, oh yeah, he smokes. Okay, we'll smoke with him. Like, no. fuck you. I don't want to share.
No.
Like, if I do it,
it's
like, bro,
almost-
I'm not here to share. This is mine. I'm not sharing with you.
I mean,
well, I
it's
think it depends.
it
and also, like,
depends.
it's
Yeah.
kind of part of the community. It's also part of the community. Like, okay, we share this, and it's also reciprocal. Like, the people that showed up typically, like, hey, all right, my turn. I'll share with. And
Yeah,
kinda
that's
just, like,
Yeah.
I don't like that. I couldn't do that. It would be like, no. You have
No.
y'all have y'all's blunt. Y'all are passing around, but I have my own blunt. Like, that's what it would be
Yeah.
for me.
You could do that too. I mean, people. I mean, smoke like
Especially with
you bring
COVID.
your own pipe. Yeah. Yeah. What-
What did we
I
say?
mean, I don't know.
Nah, because then it turns into someone asking, like, "Hey, bro, I'm almost out. You got any?" Like, that's what it goes
mean,
down, bro.
You don't have
I
to
ate a
always be in a
bank.
social smoke circle to smoke weed.
Yeah, I was
Like,
gonna say, I don't think it's. And
I'm
I
not
don't really
disputing
think too
that, but
much
to
of
say it won't
that.
bleed in, like,
it would
if it
bleed in
becomes
very, very rarely. I feel
Okay.
like
I think, like,
it's
okay,
pretty rare
like,
for
I
me,
think,
and I
like-
smoke every day. Like,
But you're not telling
Yeah,
me
like-
every time there's a huge social gathering with friends who all do it as well, y'all aren't immediately like, okay, yeah, we're gonna go smoke.
it's not immediate. I mean, it'll just like happen. I'll just offer it, and then goes from
I
there.
just,
Also,
that
like,
could be me.
you got to think it like at this point in time, like, because of our age, there's not that really anymore. Let's go do. Now at this point in time, if that's going to happen, those 4 people are just talking amongst everyone else, just smoking outside. And it's like,
Yeah.
being 16, 17, yeah, it's like, let's go walk off in the dark field for fucking hour and forget how we got home. Like,
I mean, like
now
today,
it's
like
whatever.
my sister came in my room, and me and Selena are smoking a bowl, and she's like, "Hey," and walked in with her friend and said hi, and we're just chilling there. I wasn't like, "Oh, there's a new person in the house. Come here.
You a cop?
You trying to smoke?" Like,
It's not that. It's that, like, let's say I smoke. Okay, you're going to want to smoke with me. Eventually, other
at
people are
least
going to
once.
want to.
I expect it at least once. That is expected.
That-
Partner.
Yeah, it would never happen. If I
I-
did,
I
I would
think-
keep it hush hush. It would never tell y'all.
And
You
I
would
would
just-
literally cry.
It would be
would
hilarious because you'd
seriously
slowly
cry.
see, like, the background change. You maybe see, like, a Cali poster go up. Maybe you see, like, a Rasta hat.
black light posters.
You slowly
Like-
see the room
like
change. You're
glass
like,
shell.
bro,
Something's
that's
changing
weird.
over there.
He'd tell me if it was something big.
Not, but I
Yeah,
don't really
it's
realize it till the
I got-
pandas are gone.
got on the
Oh,
got on the plant-based diet, so I diet like Devin.
it's just a different
Dude.
kind of plant.
But I think, yeah, and I think, like, also kind of like one thing Clayton was like could branch off from is like the social aspect. I kind of see where you're saying if it was like it's a hobby, it's an event with everyone because it's like, hey, let's meet up with this person. Why? So we can smoke. Okay, I mean,
Like
I already
drinking,
smoked. Well,
yeah.
no, we're gonna go smoke with this. It's just exactly like that. All right, tomorrow we're gonna go to my buddy's house. We're gonna go smoke together. And then it
Yeah,
becomes
which
like a
is
branch.
like it's not.
And-
That doesn't appeal to me. Like when we hang out, we're like,
Right.
oh, let's hang out and get beers. If y'all were like, hey, dude, I've got this buddy. You want to come by and drink? It's like, no, I don't. Like it's not that for me, and I don't want to. I
they
would never
new?
want that to spiral. Like, nah, I'm good.
I mean, I do enjoy like smoking alone or like with Selena, like just us. But I mean, like the occasion, I don't really go out of my way. I would say, like, I've never like hit anyone up, at least not in like a couple of years, and been like, "Yo, you want to smoke?" But like, if I'm already hanging out with someone, I'll just be like, just because it's literally part of my regular day. I just
That's
be like, "Do you
true.
want some?" And if they do, they do. They don't. Whatever. I'm still going to because to me, it's like a cigarette. Like I do it. you guys, like, yeah. When I'm sober, like Devin says, like, this is how you guys live.
Dude, I mean, my only plans is like when it becomes legal in Texas, I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna buy an edible, or I'm gonna buy a little weed pen. Come back, do it. That's gonna be my little celebration, and then it's done. Like, it won't become a habit for me. I won't let it happen.
Dude, you could try the Delta 8 right now.
I'm not doing that. I have no interest to do it. When weed becomes legal, it's just going to be like, yes, I wanted this. I wanted it. I don't want to partake, but I wanted this for other people, so I want to share in solidarity. Delta 8, nah, dude. I don't care what your buddy grew in his lab and figured out by science. Nah, I'm good. I'm not
Legal
that.
loophole.
Yeah, I'm not that into it that I need a legal loophole. Like, nah, I'm good. I'll just wait till we get the real thing. It's
Yeah,
like
I
getting
mean, if you're gonna
bootleg
do it
movies
once,
versus the real
do the
DVD.
real one.
Like, I'd rather have the real DVD than the bootleg one. Like, yeah, it's cool that you have the bootleg one, but I don't care that much.
Yeah, if you're gonna do it once, do the good stuff. Don't waste
it's
time.
not worth
I miss
it.
bootlegs being a thing.
You
That's
forget
what
that
you
being a
miss.
thing.
It's not that they're not a thing anymore. It's that we've just gotten way better at doing them, so it doesn't have the same feel.
No, like bootlegs aren't the thing. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that's like somebody recording in the theater and like you see somebody walk by at the bottom. That's not a thing anymore.
You wouldn't
Now they
illegally
can rip it
download a
from the
car.
Actually,
Wait,
I
Dude,
would.
that's what makes
I
me
will.
laugh about those ads when they're like, you wouldn't illegally download a car. It's like, yeah, I would. If it worked that way, yeah, 100% I would.
Oh, yeah.
Like those old, like,
Dude, that
don't
guy-
pirate stuff ads.
There's a guy who had some very, very cheap low-end car, like a Saturn or something. He built out of wood a Lamborghini body on it and drove it around, and people thought it was legit. Now that reminded me of like when I saw that, I was like, this is the equivalent of downloading a car because he downloaded blueprints, cut it himself. He had a Lamborghini basically. You didn't know until you got in. And who are you letting in your Lamborghini? Like,
Yeah.
No one.
yeah, like I would absolutely download a fucking car. I'd download a house. I'd download water. You think I would voluntarily pay for something I don't have to if it was that convenient?
Yes,
What are you talking about?
that's just it. That's like, that's the thing. Like, what's funny with like Spotify and stuff like that. Oh no, you had to buy the CD or you had to hope it came on the radio, and then someone was finally like, nah, just make it accessible. You make it easily accessible, people are willing to pay low amounts of money for it. It's better than them pirating it all anyways. Nowadays, I feel like music piracy is just not really a thing unless you're like really deep into it and it's like, we got this secret recording from when, he recorded, it's supposed to be on his next album. We can't confirm that it's legit or not.
Yep.
Like, that's the only
because
people who are
yeah, there's-
bootlegging stuff now.
There's
when it
no
comes to
reason
music.
There's no reason to pirate.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
they've made it
everything's
easily
on-
accessible.
If you have YouTube, if you have Spotify or Apple Music, or if you just have YouTube, most every song is on YouTube, and you pay. If you want to be able to close your phone while doing it, $15, or have an Android phone, it's just kind of like there's no point.
Yeah.
That made me think of something though. Illegal downloading. Damn it.
What, did you
Damn it.
lose it?
Yeah, no, for sure, man. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, that's the thing. So, pirating games, has kind of like, it kind of comes and goes and comes and goes. Like, that's another weird thing is because, like, when does that happen with gaming? Because we were just talking about this on the way out from D&D. It was the $60 game.
Oh, no, it
And then,
is.
like,
It's
Game
yeah.
Pass.
No, it is a thing. It's 100% a thing that we
Yeah.
illegally downloaded games. I've
Where?
done it before.
No, I'm saying, no, I get that. I'm saying, like, when does it all go streaming games? Because that's a better deal right now for someone like me and Schwinn are just like, I like to pick
Yeah,
up stuff every now
I
and then.
love
So
it.
$10, 4,000 games to pick from that I'll only play for an hour.
I don't know. I think I'll always go for own because, like, if it's like the same thing with like streaming now, like, I don't want to have to jump 30 different places to stream the game, and then on top of that, streaming games like, I'd rather not. I'd rather just have it on my PC and stuff like that. Kick it on whenever I want. Never have to worry about a server being down or something like that.
Well, so that's what I like about the Xbox One is it doesn't stream. You just download the game to your Xbox, and then they cycle games like every month, just like Netflix. They'll remove like 4 and add 4, and they'll show you like at the top what 4 are leaving, what 4 are coming in, and you can play it until it's over. But most games, like all the Halos have been there since it started, all the Gears of War, like it's just there. And if it's like the DLC edition, you get it. If not. But and then if you want to buy it, you get it like 10-15% off. Like if it does go off the pass. But then Stadia, is streaming. Like I have some on Stadia, and that is like it's like perfect, but if the internet hiccups, it's horrible. It's just dog shit.
Yeah, that's why I think it's a long ways from kicking fully on to full streaming.
I like the idea of like the Netflix, like it's like halfway. Yeah. You don't stream it, you download it and use it.
You do because you like to try a lot of games. I have my set games. I don't need to be messing with that. So as long as it's an option to do both, I'll still buy it my way, but that's just it. Like the streaming side doesn't appeal to me. That's just not how I am. As long as I can still buy games the way I want to buy it, that's perfectly fine by me. Like if it catches on, cool. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
I think also like because it's not because my first impression of streaming is like, oh, it's going to be 90% indie games I don't even care about anyway, or just some trash.
Yeah, not AAA.
Like there's like AAA, then there's AAA titles on there that have been like you can play God of War, all of them. You can play, you know, I don't have the PlayStation 1. You can stream or download. They encourage you to download because of course it doesn't have the option of ever buffering, but mine's never buffered. You know, Schwinn's internet. Probably not like mine. So that's one variable. But yeah, like that's the thing too. It's like it opens you up to try new things, but there's also a little bit of both. I do wonder when it goes full that way because my thing is too is like I don't really want to drop $60 on the game anymore. I'll pay $9 a month for a year. I'll pay $120 over a year for everything.
Well, y'all also game different than I do, though, too. Y'all don't stick with stuff as long as I do on games, which it's just different ways of doing it. Like it's not right or wrong. It's just what do you prefer?
Do you remember when games cost $49.99?
For a little while, yeah. It was very, very. I was like on the tail end, but that was it. And then they bumped it to 60, and then they tried bumping it to 70 and 80 with like newer games. They're trying to bump it that high.
Well, so I watched the Donkey video, and he said it started at 60 in SNES times. And I don't remember it being 60 until the Xbox 360 and PS3 came out. I remember those being 60.
Here's why is because we had GameStop. Most people would buy used copies, not brand new ones, and they were typically about $10 cheaper. At least that's kind of how I remember it.
I remember having brand new when it said new $49.99, like Ratchet and Clank, or like Soul Calibur.
I remember them always being 60, and the rumor was that next gen was 70. Every next gen was like, oh, next year they're going to 70. Like I remember that being the rumor every year.
My mom.
I agree with what Quentin says though. Like I think with the PS3, the Xbox 360, and stuff like that, that's when they made the jump to 60.
It was 50 prior.
It could have also been that it was not all these NES games were, they may have been, but it could have been other generations. Like big AAA titles used to not be a huge thing. Like I don't know, AAA titles weren't big. Like there wasn't a whole bunch of them. Now we have a whole bunch of them, and I bet what it was is there hadn't been that industry standard for AAA games to be 60, so they were kind of very. I
remember Kingdom Hearts 2 being $49.99. I remember buying it. I saved the money as a kid to buy it. It was a PS2 game, and it was $55 with tax. I remember when the 360 came out. And I made my Christmas list. My mom was like, "These goddamn games are $65 now, with tax and everything." She's like, "What the hell?" Mm-hmm. But I remember the new gen was expensive. But when you look, that's crazy that you can't find it anymore. It says
weird. 60. Are you sure the government didn't put that in your MK Ultra, dude?
Dude, I don't know, bro.
You might have been MK Ultra, bro, but. That's the weird thing. Like the $60 game, I was like, why does it just stick there? Even if it was 50, it's just like flat because like that's the thing Dunkey brings up. He's like, there's these awesome indie games doing better than AAA titles for $30, and some of these AAA titles are put out that are terrible or not finished products for more than $60.
Dude, and that's what when we were talking about earlier when I said the games come out never finished is like I'm playing games that are officially finished now that came out like 3 years ago.
Well, that's just it with it. It's considered one of the best and one of the worst things that happened to the gaming industry is the fact that they could do updates. Because back in the day, like, you played Zelda, it had to be a finished product, because if it didn't work, it didn't work. There was no fixing it. You had to have it launched, completed, and fixed. And even then, there would be little bugs that slipped through, but as long as they weren't game breaking, it was okay to have little bugs slip through. That's how speedrunning kind of came around. But nowadays, the ability for them to just patch it, like, in theory, it sounds great. Like, hey, they can fix those little minor glitches. Now they've run with that, and they're like, well, we can fix it later. Doesn't matter. We can fix it later. Just launch it. We can fix it later. Like, look at Cyberpunk. No, just launch it. We can fix it later. Just launch it. We'll fix it later.
Yeah. Avengers, bro. I logged on there the other day. I was like, a whole bunch of extra shit. I was like, or Destiny, a whole bunch of extra shit. Like, I'm excited. There's a new Witcher Complete Edition coming out, like, again, apparently, for the next gen. Like, what? So when is it going to be really complete? Like,
well, no, like, The Witcher's been done for a while. They haven't done new things in it. It's just typically like, hey, people like to play it on better graphics. That's why they're not doing re-releases on PC. It's like, people want to see it on newer graphics that wasn't available to them at the time. Here, we'll bring it. This brought it up a level. We'll put it out there so that they can play it at that higher level if they'd like.
What was the other one I was thinking of?
Well, not to mention,
Final Fantasy VII.
They're not spending any more money in development, so it doesn't hurt them to re-release. Like, the base of it's all loaded. They just got to move it from one to the other and then touch things up.
The thing with The Witcher is that it's, praised by, like, the Reddit army for what it is. It was done when it came out. The DLC actually is DLC. So the complete edition isn't like a knock at itself. It's like, no, this is like all the good stuff.
No, whereas just the idea.
Traditionally, now, like you're saying, of like, there are other games. Like, how many times can you re-release it, or how long does it take you to complete it? So,
even if you look at like Fallout 4, like, you can clearly see like, oh, hey, we're doing 7 DLCs, or we're doing 5 DLCs. 3 of them are things that should have just been in the base game already. Like, oh, we added stuff to the workshop. We added this to the workshop. We added this to the workshop. It's like, that should have been in the base game. It's just like The Sims and their DLCs. Like, why isn't this in the base game? It should have just been in the base game. And then you have 2 or 3 that actually are DLCs that are worth it.
Well, so
imagine like. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, another one I noticed was the Ghost of Tsushima. There's like a new re-release director's cut is coming out that's adding something else, but it's supposed to be like better, and it's like remastered and everything for the PS5. And FF7 Integrate is like remastered as DLC.
I think
like,
companies.
These games just came out like a year ago.
Yeah, I think it's just companies. It's just companies understand they can money grab, and Skyrim was the first one that figured out they could do that.
God. Dude, yeah,
it's like literally their response to people saying quit re-releasing Skyrim was quit buying it. That was their response. Quit buying it and we'll stop.
It is funny, like, because it's acceptable in that industry. Because, I mean, if you imagine, like, buying a house and they're like, hey, in 9 months, we might add windows. Like, it's supposed to come with windows. Like, no. The house comes as a brick. But you could buy windows when we're ready to install them. And then it just goes like, well, we don't have a laundry room. Yeah, we were thinking about like maybe a day 1 update, but probably a 1 year update. You're like, no, I'm not doing this. So it's acceptable in that industry because, like Todd from Skyrim, he's like, okay, quit buying it.
Yeah. Like, dude, I'm upset that like, hey, we announced Elder Scrolls 6. It's been like 3 or 4 years at this point, and we still have no additional news on it. They didn't even talk about it the last E3. It's like, yeah, we're probably never getting that game. It's kind of how I shocked it. I want it. I want to play it. But why would they if we'll keep buying Skyrim?
I mean, they'll buy Skyrim, but I mean, double-edged sword, I guess, because I like re-releases. I mean, dude, like, I'm gonna get.
I like re-releases alongside new content because eventually there's nothing. Like, it's gonna get to a point where there's nothing to re-release.
Wait, what did you say you're gonna get?
Well, yeah, I mean, dude, Diablo 2.
Oh yeah, I saw that. It's like in beta right now. That's like it's not a remake. It's a remaster, right? It's all HD and everything.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like Clayton said, new content. But that's not even the point. The point is, it's a Diablo game, you know. So I'm like, okay. I mean, I'm cool with it. Like, dude. I mean, let's just say 5 years from now, if they do another Kingdom Hearts, the most completest 2.8 complete edition, I'll buy it.
It ties up this side story here, this small little nutshell here, but it does it in the worst plot points way possible that created more holes than it fixed.
Perfect.
Well, I mean, dude, I'm really thinking about the Diamond and Pearl remake.
Oh, I saw a trip. That actually looks pretty cool.
Those look crazy, and yeah. So like the re-releases, I guess those are really more remasters, remakes. I think the problem is, if it's every 2 years and it's the same exact thing, I'd be like, all right, like that's almost like a completely overhaul.
Yeah, let it die. Just let it die at a certain point. But people keep buying, man. Like, I don't know how much prettier you can touch up Skyrim, dude. Just like at this point, you're not pushing the system. You're just pushing graphics. You're not pushing what the system can actually do.
Well, and like I love the fucking like when people are like full HD on the dumbest. So I saw a video today, Skate 3 with max graphics, and they're like, "Is this what Skate 4 will look like?" No. All you do when you max graphics every fucking time, every fucking game, all of the concrete looks wet. And then there's this insane depth of field effect, which blurs the shit out of anything directly behind them. It's like you're misusing these things. I don't need everything to look wet. And just because
even then, it's also just accept, like, if we get a Skate 4, it's been so long, it's probably going to be horrible.
Dude, like, who knows? And there's another thing that pissed me off about it is that they're misusing depth of field. Because, like, you think about when you play Skate, you want to see your skater and the object they're coming to. The problem with depth of field is everything is blurry but your skater, and it makes your eyes narrow to like his like lower body and like his hips and down, and you're not looking ahead. It's like, dude, this fucks up the experience. Like, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Like, it's not how these things work.
I don't know, dude.
But,
I'm ready for the 40K Vermintide game that they're making. I am ready.
Vermintide?
So, like, Warhammer did Vermintide. Like, Warhammer has multiple, like, different timelines. So they have Warhammer, and then they have Warhammer 40K. They did a Warhammer, like, think Left 4 Dead style, fight through, get loot, but you can actually upgrade an RPG style your character. But they're doing that with Warhammer 40K. And I'm like, Warhammer 40K, Left 4 Dead, that's kind of up my alley. I think I'm gonna dabble.
What's it called? It's just called Warhammer Vermintide?
It's like I don't remember the name on it. I've kept it on the pref-free because I assume it's gonna be a while till we get it. So I don't want to like build my hype, because you know how I am about building hype about games. I don't like doing it, and I think it just ends up for a poor experience. I see the game, I'm interested, and then I will wait till it comes out, and I will play it. The most I'm going to follow is like a release date, if that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I part of me, like, as I watched the Pokemon Direct, and I'm almost like, I wish I didn't see that. Because that's another thing about being a kid that was like, you know, you open a game for the first time, and everything is new. Whereas nowadays, like, by the time I get the game, I'm like, I know exactly what to expect. There's a few, maybe a plot twist, whatever. If I even listen to the plot.
The most you should do is surface level look and then leave it alone. Let everything else be a surprise to you.
Dude, yes, because I'm like excited what I saw at Pokemon Direct, but I'm also like, God, but if that was like, if my first time witnessing it was like turning it on,
I'd be like, whoa. Yeah.
Because that's just it.
You see the Legend of Arceus or whatever?
Yeah.
Look interesting.
That's crazy. Open world,
Did you see that way?
Grab random and fight them. Insane.
The Legend of Arceus. They look like Breath of the Wild Pokemon. Like that's the art style, and like instead of their classic style, it's like it looks like they're like sneaking up on Pokemon and like trying to catch them, and if they have to battle them, then it's like turns into over the shoulder and they use whatever Pokemon they have. It's like an open world, not so much structured is what it looks like.
Pass. I'm
With
good.
the infield combat. So it doesn't like screen wipe and turn based. It's the infield combat. So.
Pass. I'm
There
good.
you go.
I'm good. Just not my
You gotta
speed,
look at it.
man. Just
Not
my
Soul
speed.
Silver.
Yeah, I know. It's not your
No, I
speed,
know
but
it's
think
not
if you saw
yellow.
it, you'd be like,
That's
not
just
yellow.
yeah.
That's
No,
a-
you'd be
y'all.
like,
That's just it. Like y'all love Pokemon and stuff like that, and are super hyped about it. I'm not. Like I got my fill of Pokemon. I don't need that fill done again.
I don't know.
I don't care if they
haven't-
could do it
No,
better.
I don't-
Like I didn't leave wanting more. So while it's cool for people who are like really into Pokemon and think Pokemon's great and stuff like that, like I got my fill. I'm good. I think it was great. I think it's a classic. That's where I will leave it. I don't.
It's
need
one of
the
those
newer
games-
Stuff.
I get a craving for it every once in a while, and I haven't played since like X and Y, like the first 3D one. So I mean, it's been like quite. I'm sure they're like really cool now. Like as a fan, I'd probably be like, "Holy shit!"
Just not my speed, man.
yeah, I mean, I see it's a craving thing. Yeah, you're right. It comes right around the release date.
No.
Something about that.
The last one that
Like-
actually had me kind of considering it was Let's Go. Let's Go was one of the ones that kind of
made fire.
Dude, that one I was interested in because I was like, you get to throw the Pokeballs. That's pretty cool. It's the classic yellow. I'd like to rewalk through that. That would be cool. But I'm like, I'm not buying a Switch just for this experience because there's no
What
other
is it?
games that really pull me in for Switch.
Well, and that's what's funny is that because it at least piqued your interest somewhat, it was a yellow remake. So that's how they would have got you back in the sphere. Because I quit playing as a kid. I was just, one, I didn't have a Game Boy Advance, and two, I was just kind of like, all right, whatever. My favorite one was Silver. So in high school, when they remade Silver, that's literally what got me back in. I'm like, oh, that was my favorite. Let me just check it out. And it was like mind blowing. So then I was back in the sphere again of like, all right,
Well,
check it out.
even then, the only reason I was somewhat hyped about like Let's Go is watching speedruns. I was like, I could see myself doing a speedrun on that.
So it's a remake of Yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah, Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go
Let's Go
Pikachu were remakes of Yellow.
I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're both remakes. The story's different. And that's why you get all the starters. You can have all the starters. And it's a different
that's the one where you
timeline,
get all
too.
starters.
You're able to catch all the starters. There's certain things you have to do to hit the prerequisites for it. But yes, the only reason I know that is because I watch people speedrun it, and there's speedrun of, hey, beat the game as quick as possible, and then there's speedrun the Pokedex. And it does not take it does not take as long as you think. It's only like a 4 or 5 hour speed run to do it for like the people who are actually maxing the Pokedex in that.
Dang.
Dude, people they were speedrunning Omega and Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Those were on the 3DS, and that's 4 hours. You get Mudkip, and it had it down to like this guy was giving out the guide for it, and there was a step by step in his speedrun guide. It was select this, 1 step forward, 1 step right. Like he had it broken down the entire 4 hour thing. If you wanted to attempt it, it's like 18 steps forward, 1 step left. Like it's like, damn. Like to think like up, left, up, just like to have that down in a 4 hour pattern.
Well, even in Let's Go,
crazy.
the thing that I liked about that was they had to flick it, and it was so technical of like, we have to get this much XP. So I need to get this many of this actual toss. So there was a skill level mixed in other than just knowing the exact steps. There was the skill level of not only you need to know these exact steps and be really good at doing them, but you also have to be good at throwing and catching. You want this many of this. Like you want to get as much XP as possible. So you have to build consistency with throwing the balls.
Insane.
Mm-hmm. All right, bros. Y'all got anything else y'all want to tread? I'll take that as a no. All right. This has been Nobody Named Kevin podcast. God, dude, it trips me up so much. Nobody Named Kevin podcast, episode 27. Thank you for listening. Like, comment, and subscribe.